Upcoming smartphones this month. What if I told you that some of the most exciting smartphones of the entire year are about to launch within the next few weeks? Phones with AI features that feel straight out of science fiction, cameras that could rival professional equipment, batteries that charge faster than ever before, and designs that might completely change how we think about smartphones. But here's the interesting part. Not all upcoming phones are getting the same attention. While everyone is talking about the obvious flagship launches, a few under-the-radar devices could end up becoming the biggest surprises of the month. And one of them may completely disrupt the smartphone market. So before you spend your hard-earned money on a new device, you need to see what's coming. Because by the end of this video, you'll know which upcoming smartphones are worth waiting for, which innovations could change the industry, and which launch might shock everyone. The smartphone industry has entered one of its most competitive periods in years. Just a few years ago, smartphone launches felt predictable. Companies would release slightly faster processors, slightly better cameras, and slightly larger batteries. Most upgrades felt incremental. Today, everything is different. Artificial intelligence has become the biggest battlefield. Camera systems are evolving at an incredible pace. Foldable phones are becoming more practical. Battery technology is advancing faster than many experts predicted. And this month, several manufacturers are preparing devices that showcase exactly where the future of smartphones is heading. But here's a question. Which company is actually leading the race? The answer isn't as obvious as you might think. Let's start with one of the most anticipated launches. Samsung has been aggressively pushing AI-powered smartphone experiences, and industry insiders expect new updates and devices that continue the strategy. The company understands something important: raw hardware alone is no longer enough. Consumers want phones that work smarter. Imagine taking a photo and having AI instantly improve lighting, remove unwanted objects, and even suggest creative edits within seconds. Features that once required expensive software are becoming available directly on smartphones. Samsung appears determined to stay ahead in this category. However, they aren't alone. Because another major competitor is preparing something equally impressive. The next generation of flagship devices from Chinese manufacturers is expected to focus heavily on camera innovation. Companies like Xiaomi, Vivo, and Oppo have transformed smartphone photography over the past few years. In fact, many smartphone enthusiasts now believe some Chinese flagship cameras outperform devices that cost significantly more. That's a remarkable shift. Not long ago, premium smartphone photography was dominated by a handful of brands. Today, competition is fiercer than ever. This month could bring new camera technologies featuring larger sensors, advanced computational photography, and enhanced low-light performance. And there's one surprising reason why this matters. Most people no longer carry dedicated cameras. For vacations, family events, content creation, and even professional work, smartphones have become the primary tool. That means every improvement in camera technology affects millions of people immediately. But cameras aren't the only battlefield. Battery technology may be experiencing its biggest transformation in years. For a long time, smartphone users accepted a frustrating reality. No matter how powerful a phone became, battery anxiety remained. People carried power banks. They searched for charging outlets. They worried about running out of battery during important moments. Now, manufacturers are fighting to eliminate that problem. Several upcoming smartphones are expected to feature massive batteries combined with ultra-fast charging technologies. Think about this. What if your phone could gain hours of battery life from just a few minutes of charging? That future is arriving much faster than many expected. Some companies are already demonstrating charging speeds that seemed impossible only a few years ago. And as these technologies become more widespread, consumer expectations will permanently change. But wait, there is another trend quietly reshaping the industry. Foldable smartphones. When foldables first appeared, many people saw them as expensive experiments. The devices looked futuristic, but concerns about durability, pricing, and practicality limited adoption. Yet something fascinating happened. Manufacturers continued improving them. Year after year, generation after generation. The hinges became stronger. The screens became more durable. The software became more refined. Now, several upcoming foldable launches could represent a turning point. For the first time, foldables are beginning to look like realistic alternatives to traditional smartphones rather than niche products. And if pricing continues to improve, the market could experience a major shift over the next few years. But perhaps the biggest story isn't hardware at all. It's artificial intelligence. AI has become the centerpiece of nearly every smartphone strategy. Every company wants consumers to believe their AI is smarter, faster, and more useful. Yet many people remain skeptical. Can AI truly transform the smartphone experience? The answer may depend on what launches this month. Upcoming devices are expected to introduce features that go beyond simple voice assistance. Imagine real-time language translation during conversations. Imagine AI-generated summaries of long emails and documents. Imagine advanced personal assistants that understand context and help manage daily tasks more efficiently. These aren't distant concepts anymore. They're becoming reality. And the companies that execute these features best could gain a significant advantage. Now here's where things get really interesting. Many experts believe we're approaching a major turning point in smartphone innovation. For years, the industry focused on making phones thinner, faster, and more powerful. But those improvements eventually reached diminishing returns. Most flagship phones became incredibly good. The challenge shifted. How do companies convince users to upgrade? The answer appears to be experience rather than specifications. Consumers may not care if a processor is 10% faster, but they do care if a phone saves them time. They care if it takes better photos. They care if battery life lasts longer. They care if AI genuinely improves everyday life. That's why the upcoming launches matter so much. They reveal what manufacturers believe consumers actually want, and the results could influence smartphone development for years. There's also a fascinating economic angle. The smartphone market has become more competitive than ever before. Premium flagships continue pushing technological boundaries. At the same time, mid-range smartphones are becoming shockingly capable. This creates a dilemma for manufacturers. How do you justify flagship prices when affordable devices keep improving? Many upcoming launches will attempt to answer that question. Some will focus on exclusive AI features. Others will emphasize camera systems. Some will highlight premium materials and design. The competition benefits consumers because companies must work harder to stand out, and that's leading to faster innovation across the entire industry. Now let's talk about the biggest surprise possibility. History shows that the most talked about phone isn't always the most successful one. Sometimes a relatively unknown device exceeds expectations. Sometimes an underdog brand introduces a feature nobody saw coming. Sometimes a phone with modest marketing becomes a fan favorite because it delivers exceptional value. This month could produce exactly that kind of surprise. And those unexpected launches often become the most exciting stories, because they remind us that innovation can come from anywhere. Not just the biggest brands, not just the most expensive devices, but from companies willing to challenge conventional thinking. So what should consumers do? If you're planning to buy a smartphone soon, patience could be incredibly valuable. A few weeks can make a huge difference. New launches may introduce groundbreaking features. Existing devices may receive price reductions. Competition may create better deals. The smartest purchase decision is often the one made after seeing the full picture. And this month's releases could significantly change that picture. As we look ahead, one thing is becoming clear. The smartphone industry is entering a new era. An era defined not just by hardware power, but by intelligent software. Not just by bigger specifications, but by better experiences. Not just by competition, but by rapid innovation. The devices launching this month aren't merely new smartphones. They're previews of the future. A future where AI becomes more integrated, cameras become more powerful, batteries become less of a concern, and smartphones become more capable than ever before. The question isn't whether exciting phones are coming. They are. The real question is which company will deliver the breakthrough that everyone remembers. And that answer may arrive sooner than anyone expects. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications because the smartphone world moves incredibly fast, and we'll be covering every major launch, surprise announcement, and game-changing innovation as it happens. Also, let us know in the comments which upcoming smartphone you're most excited about and whether you think AI, cameras, battery life, or foldable technology will define the next generation of devices. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.